The man on the pole to start is Tony Stewart. Steve Burns is with him.
And Eli, as we said, Tony Stewart and this race team, they've had a great year so far. Tony, here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, what do you hope to accomplish in this short race?
Try to stay where we're at and at the front of this field, but this Home Depot Pontiac's been pretty good today, and the fact that I didn't come and test here, I kind of hurt the team with my burnt feet, but Greg Zippadelli and all these guys did a great job getting this car ready, and we ran a quick lap today, which got us up to the front. I just hope we can stay there.
And Eli, he will leave directly from here, go to the Concord Airport up the road, go to Indianapolis. He has an 8 a.m. practice tomorrow morning. He will qualify at 11 and then fly back to the Lowe's Motor Speedway for 2 o'clock practice here.
Remarkable schedule. He did not have a good day yesterday in Indianapolis where they wrecked their primary race car, but they do hope to have it all set and ready to go again tomorrow. Back downstairs to Glenn Jarrett.
Hey, thanks, Eli. And just for the record, I'm going to sleep in till about 10:30 tomorrow. We're talking to Jerry Nadeau here. He starts on the outside of Tony Stewart. Jerry, you've had a fast race car all day. I've been watching the charts. You've been up front most of the day. You got a pretty tough guy there on the inside. Can you handle him?
It's going to be a pretty good deal. I feel like the guys did a great job preparing the car. The car's been good throughout practice, and when we tested last week, we worked on race setup, and the car was really good, but he's going to be pretty tough, and I'm looking forward to running with him because he's a good racer. He's been running really good lately, and if we can pull this thing off, it's going to be really good for the guys back in the shop and the guys in the pits.
Jerry, it's only 25 laps. You seem to like those short runs.
Yeah, I'm used to these 8-lap heat races, 12-lap consies, and 25-lap features, so this is going to be pretty neat. He's done a lot of that. I've done a lot of that in the past, so my guys just told me bring the steering wheel back or bring the rag back, so hopefully we can bring the rag back.
I hope that's the case, too. Good luck, Jerry.
Jerry Nadeau, he's had a busy day today. He was shooting some promotional announcements in the garage area today with Scooby-Doo, one of the characters that maybe you or your young children enjoy watching on the Cartoon Network, and they were doing some appearances and filming today in the garage area, attracting a fairly large crowd. When we come back, they'll be set to fire the engines for the second of the No Bull 25s. You're watching it live on Speed Vision, America's fastest network. We're back in a moment.
Are you tired of waiting for monthly car magazines? Don't wait. Get Auto Week. Start Auto Week racing to you every week. For a true car lover, once a month is not enough. Don't wait for racing coverage. Auto Week covers it all. NASCAR, kart, Formula One, sports cars, the IRL, and brings it to you first. Behind the scenes as well as on the track, just days after the race. Don't wait for the fastest road tests. Auto Week drives every new car, truck, SUV, and van, and tells you about them first, as only a weekly can. For a true car lover, once a month is not enough. Don't wait for auto shows, trends and insights, personalities, and special features. Call 1-800-445-3800 for 52 weeks of Auto Week at our absolute lowest price, just $19.95. Save over $100 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Call 1-800-445-3800 now for Auto Week. Don't wait for monthly car magazines. Get Auto Week every week. Once a month is not enough.
With 5-time defending champ Mick Doohan out with injuries, perennial runner-up Alex Crevier may finally get his chance to wear the #1 plate. The Grand Prix of France, Sunday at 10 Eastern.
We cover every race except for your trip home from work.
I want to like Rebecca, I really do. But she thinks Miller Lite tastes great because it's smooth.
And Rick thinks it's because of the choice hops.
And even if we could get past that, we'd still argue over whose work sells the most sports magazines.
Okay, in-depth analysis of the nickel defense or fishnet bikinis. You decide.
Look, Rebecca, guys buy sports magazines for great sports writing.
Oh, great. So I guess we'll be seeing that Rick Riley sports writing calendar any day now.
Oh, man.
Miller Lite, the great taste of a true Pilsner beer.
Welcome back, everybody. About 3 minutes from firing the engines for the second of the No Bull 25s. One guy down on that starting grid has appeared in only one running of the Winston. That was way back in 1993. He'd like to make another appearance here tomorrow. Rick Mast with Steve Burns.
Thanks, Eli. And they've got a little bit of sponsorship on the car for the second week in a row. Now, Rick, we've heard everybody say they're just trying to figure some things out here tonight. How about you guys?
Same deal, man. You know, this is actually our 600 car. We tested last week, 2 weeks ago. We weren't planning on bringing this car to the 600 or for the Winston, but the thing wasn't good enough, so we decided we better bring it here and test with it tomorrow night. to try to get it figured out. We didn't have it figured out today. Threw some stuff at it here right before the race. So we'll see what happens here when it starts.
All right, Rick Mass, let's check in now with Glenn Jarrett.
Hey, thanks, Steve. We're standing by Wally Dahlbeck. He starts third. And one of the first things I want to show you is look how long the steering column is on Wally's car. Got him sitting almost in the back seat. Now, I know you're not a back seat driver. And one thing I want to compliment you on is the year you're having so far. You guys have really come together early this year.
Oh, thank you. The Bud team's been working extremely hard. We're very, very hungry for a win, and we're just real happy the way things have come together. Rick and Pop, John have given me a great opportunity driving for this team. And, heck, I was sitting here just watching the screen. I didn't know they were handing out $25,000 checks to win this thing, so that's going to give us a little bit more incentive.
Yeah, that's a pretty good prize. I told Mike Skinner that's probably the easiest $25,000 he'd ever made.
Hey, I hear that. I didn't realize they were paying that, so it won't be a lack of driving hard tonight, that's for sure.
Well, you see, guys, they're not all interested in money. Wally didn't even know they were paying anything in this race. He just thought it was for a starting position.
How refreshing to hear. Wally Dahlbeck, who's trying to earn his way into his first ever running of the Winston. This is the 15th renewal of that event. It's been run under the lights for many, many years now. Kenny Irwin also trying to earn his way into the Winston tomorrow, and you can see he's concentrating.
And Eli, he'll start right behind Wally Dahlbeck. Kenny, what are your thoughts on this short race here this evening?
Well, I think we only got 3 cars to pass, so right there's a better than some of the guys back there. You know, hopefully it's just a good test for tomorrow, and which gets us into the Winston, but we feel like we got a pretty good car right now.
All right, good luck, Kenny Irwin. Let's go back to Glenn Jarrett.
And starting a lot further back than I know he'd like to be is Chad Little. Chad, you always run well at this racetrack. I know you got a better race car than this. Can we look for you to go to the front?
I think the John Deere Ford's definitely capable of going to the front today. We practiced okay, we qualified okay, but it just comes down to the setup. And you heard Skinner say he was going to be a hero or a zero with the way his car was set up, and looked like it was good. I'm hoping we can follow the same suit.
Okay, we're getting ready to start engines. We'll wish Chad good luck, and let's take it back upstairs to Eli.
Chad has never been in the Winston. Kenny Irwin ran last year and finished 13th. Now R.D. Hunt is grabbing the microphone trackside, getting set to give the command to fire the engines on the second of the No Bull 25s, and then the field will be set for tomorrow night's running of the Winston Open. Here's R.D. Hunt with the command. And Tony Stewart and Jerry Nadeau begin to get things going here. Kenny Irwin fires things up. And again, it's 25 laps to set the outside starting positions. Positions 2, 4, 6, 8, and further back for tomorrow night's running of the Winston Open. The green flag in a moment.
Well, that's the hardest thing about a road trip, is deciding where the best place is going to be for the conditions. Usually there's a little bit of argument about, oh, no, it'll be way better here. No, trust me, this is the spot. It's always, oh, is it going to be epic? Is it going to be huge? Is it going to be small and junky? After that, wheel into the Chevron, get the cooler loaded up with goodies, tank up with some Techron, and we're revved and ready to go.
For a great ride, use Chevron with Techron.
Oh, dude.
When did you folks see the light?
On a trip to my sister's, I said, why waste money when we can stay at Motel 6, didn't I, hon? Now see what happens when you listen. It's like that fear he had of cauliflower wouldn't go near the produce section.
Call us and see the light for yourself.
What if you could win when they win? Well, now you can. Catch exciting race action on Speed Vision Network at Hooters restaurants. While you enjoy food and fun, instantly win prizes like Hooters racing merchandise. You could even win your own Ford Mustang. One lucky fan will have a chance to win the 1999 USAR Hooters Pro Cup Champions prize of $300,000. So go to Hooters, because when they win, you win.
See stores for official rules. Must be 21. Void where prohibited by law. No purchase necessary.
Playing hard or working hard, Centrum has your nutrition covered. With Centrum, you benefit from what science is discovering about how vitamins and minerals help maintain health and strengthen immunity. Centrum, always complete from A to Zinc.
Tony Stewart's team getting set. We all are as well. A couple of laps away from going racing. There is Tony in the number 20 Home Depot entry, following that brand new pace car, the year 2000 model of the Chevy Monte Carlo. Let's take a look at the starting lineup, and you know who's in this event. 15 strong, Tony Stewart and Jerry Nadeau. Tony, the top rookie in 1999. Veteran Wally Dallenbach wants to get into his first running of the Winston. Kenny Irwin wants to qualify for his second Winston here tomorrow. Rick Mast has been in one of these all-star event weekends. Chad Little has never enjoyed the feature. Joe Nemechek and Kenny Wallace, that's row number 4. Robert Presley, Ricky Craven, Kevin LePage, Derek Copes had a tough 1999, but boy, how that could turn around here this weekend. From the ARCA Series and from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Frank Kimmel, veteran Morgan Shepherd, and from Daytona Beach, Florida, Dan Pardis. 15 drivers. They will, in one order or another, start from positions 2 on back. And again, taking a look at how this field and all gets set. They established the starting field for both of these No Bull 25s by virtue of the practice speeds today. The first race, Mike Skinner, followed by Spencer, Schrader, and the others. They will start inside the starting grid in tomorrow night's Winston Open. And the finishing order from this event will set the outside rows, the even-numbered starting spots in the Winston Open. And of course, from that race, one driver, the winner only, will advance into the Winston NASCAR's All-Star race. Well, Glenn, we saw domination from Mike Skinner in race number 1. Is it likely we'll see that here in race 2?
You know, Eli, it wouldn't surprise me to see Tony Stewart do the same thing. This kid has been fast all year long. Starting at Daytona, he qualified on the outside pole. He has really impressed and amazed a lot of people with his ability, showing some experience way beyond his years, a lot of patience. These guys have really come together very quickly. Crew Chief Greg Zipadelli has really worked well with Tony, and I'm telling you, the team chemistry is there. It has really impressed me, especially, to see a kid come along and show so much patience. I don't think that, that there would be any doubt about at all that I think that Tony can go right up front and do the same thing that Mike Skinner did. A lot of guys behind him think that they can run with him. Steve Burns is going to talk about some of those.
And Glenn, one of those guys is Jeff Bice, the crew chief for Jerry Nadeau. Now remember, before the last race, Larry McReynolds, Mike Skinner's crew chief, said, I don't really know what we have for this evening because we set up on qualifying runs this afternoon. Now, Jeff Bice said, we're going off our notes from the test session we had here last week, and that was a test session that they ran at night. So we'll see if those notes translate to success here in this short 25-lap race.
Those of you who might just be tuning in, earlier this evening, Bobby Labonte won the pole for the Winston, the All-Star race tomorrow night. He'll share the front row with Jeff Gordon. Mark Martin will start 3rd, Rusty Wallace 4th, and Dale Earnhardt 5th. Other top qualifiers today for the Winston, Dale Jarrett qualified 6th. We had Jeffrey Bodine 7th, Bill Elliott 8th, Michael Waltrip 9th, and Bobby Hamilton will start 10th. All of that qualifying taking place earlier. Now the final 25-lapper of the evening. If you're a Ford, Chevy, or Pontiac fan in particular, there's how many of your favorite make that you have in the field. The field was to have gotten the green this time by. See if indeed they do. Here comes the pace car. The Monte Carlo is gone. And we are train 25 laps to set the outside starting spots in tomorrow night's Winston Open. Stewart says, you guys battle behind me. I'm getting out of here. And indeed, a good scramble. Kenny Irwin there, lower the racetrack, battling Jerry Nadeau. The third, Dallenbach is in second. Joe Nemechek in the Bell South car, a little dicey there. Boy, look at them all bottom out and those sparks just go flying. Battle down the back straightaway. 77, Robert Presley in 11. Kenny Wallace out of the groove there, has to slow down just to save the race car. All the while, Tony Stewart is out by a half second on Wally Dallenbach, who is in second. Kevin LePage, number 16, 58, Ricky Craven. Challenge of Rick Bass, 3 wide around Ricky Craven. Kevin LePage gets the spot. Nadeau settles in next, then Ricky Craven right there. That'll be 7th, 8th, and 9th that they were battling for. This bunch a whole lot more dicey than the first group of 15, that's for sure. Separated, as you see, by 0.4 of a second. Then it is a second and a half back to third place, Kenny Irwin. There you see the interval at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Then, of course, it's a great battle from that point back. 42, Joe Nemechek. 97, Chad Little, 5th and 6th. Again, all of these drivers will be in the Winston Open tomorrow night. No one is eliminated here tonight. But this is to set starting positions. And Steve, looks as though Jerry Nadeau keeps drifting up a bit in the corners. That's where he's losing ground.
Eli just spoke with Jeff Bice, the crew chief, and he said on one of the opening laps that Jerry got very loose coming off of 4, the back end wanting to come around. So I think rather than risk it, they're just going to try and nurse it home, be conservative, and really not try to drive over his head for a race like this.
That is 8th and 9th. That's Jerry Nadeau right there with Ricky Craven behind him. 77, Robert Presley. Kevin LePage in the 16, and that blue and white number 98, that's Rick Mast. Those fellows running in 6th and 7th. There's Joe Nemechek, he's in 4th. Chad Little behind him in the John Deere colors, he's 5th. 6 laps of 25 complete. Glad you're with us. We are live on Speed Vision. Qualifying for the Winston and the Winston Open. Up front, Tony Stewart by a full second on Wally Dallenbach. There's what it looks like, 1 full second now. Then from Wally back to Kenny Irwin, it is 2.4 seconds. And there you see the battle for 4th, Nemechek and Chad Little. With Kevin LePage, you see him there on the higher group, number 16. Worked well at times on that high groove earlier in the first of the qualifiers. Kevin LePage draws near but can't quite make it pay off. Everybody interested in watching how this day shakes down. There goes LePage now. That's for 5th. Can't quite get back in line. But LePage said, heck, I'm just going to keep going. Got it. 4th place. Kevin LePage, gutsy move. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart bringing smiles to the face of his car owner. Tony's up by a 1.5 seconds now.
And this is obviously Coach Joe Gibbs, the car owner for Tony Stewart. First of all, congratulations on the pole with Bobby Labonte, and your guy Tony's out front here tonight. You're having a pretty good day.
Well, so far we are. Tony's just getting started. I hope it holds up. Bobby had a great day, great pit stop. He does a great job. The first year, I told him, you must have done that because you didn't know what you were doing. Now he knows what he's doing. He's still doing pretty good. So we had a good night. We're happy for Interstate Batteries and Home Depot so far.
Any concerns at all about the busy schedule that Tony has during the month of May with Charlotte and Indy?
No, we talked about that. Home Depot, all of us all agreed. We agreed a year ago. So it's something we all agreed for him to do, and we just hope he has a good, safe week.
Well, while you and I were talking, he increased the lead by 1/2 second. He's up by 2 seconds, so he's checking out.
That's good. I hope we can hang on there.
Okay, that's Coach Joe Gibbs, car owner for Tony Stewart.
And he is smiling aplenty. Meanwhile, look at everybody. Steve, I don't know if you can see from where you are, but there's not a soul here who's not found a vantage point.
Exactly, Eli. I'm looking at Jeff Gordon's transporter, and virtually the entire team is atop the transporter. They're watching to see how these race cars react to this track at night. Remember, the Winston, the big show, is tomorrow night, and these teams are getting ready to go out and practice. So they're looking to see how these cars are reacting during this short race running right now.
And it's exactly at this time, 24 hours from now, the Winston, the All-Star race, is scheduled to green flag a few moments after 9 o'clock Eastern and run till about 10:15 or so Eastern. So this would be exactly smack dab in the middle of the main event here in 24 hours time. So you won't get a better barometer than right now. There's a good scramble still. 4th place, LePage in the red and white, Chad Little in the John Deere green and yellow. And there's Kenny Wallace in the 55 inside the 77 of the Jasper team. Robert Presley, and Robert will hang on to 10th. Kenny Wallace back in 11th. That's been a good scramble. Nemechek, Mast, and Nadeau, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Rick's been trying something every lap, and here he goes again. He wants 6th. Got it this time. Made the good jump, you see, early off turn 2. He wasn't able to get that early in the start on the pass the last few times. It worked this time. And you see that 9 car of Nadeau still dancing around. Ricky Craven's right behind him. 15 laps down, 10 to go. Here goes Nadeau for 7th. Got it. Craven. Got it. Not a good lap for Joe Nemechek. He loses 2, maybe even a 3rd spot. Robert Presley. Got him. Kenny Wallace. Got him. Nemechek losing 5 spots in about 1.25 miles. Joe is excited, though. It's not been a vintage year, certainly, but he normally runs well at Charlotte, normally runs well at Dover, Pocono, Michigan, tracks that are coming up. That's that 4th place battle still. That's a brand new car, the red and white car for Kevin LePage, brand new. And when I talk about brand new, I mean they haven't even gone anywhere and tested. When it hit a racetrack this morning, or actually 12:30 this afternoon, that was the first time that number 16 had ever been on a racetrack. They didn't take it to Greenville Pickens to test or anything. Meanwhile, up front, it's now 3.2 seconds. Tony Stewart to Dallenbach. Then from Wally, it's 3 seconds back to Irwin in 3rd. Then a 1.5 seconds back to LePage and Chad Little. Funny, I didn't know if anybody would check out in this race like Skinner did in the first one, but Glenn hit it on the head. He said, I believe Tony's going to get gone. He really has. to go when they get back to the stripe as you continue to watch that fourth place battle. That's the difference between one more row of starting spots tomorrow in the Open. With only one guy advancing into the big show tomorrow. One row is a significant margin. With this battle, because quite honestly, for the moment, it is the only battle on the racetrack. Everything else is settled down. Tony Stewart up by 3 7/10 seconds now on Wally Dallenbach. And Wally has 3 seconds on Kenny Irwin, who has 2 seconds on this battle. So there's not much of intrigue happening ahead of these guys. That's why we're keeping you here in fourth place. What Chad Little's doing is trying to do like Rick Mast did last time, or a little bit earlier. Get an earlier start on the pass, and it might work this time. Nope, not yet. Let's see if Chad backs it up even more back into turn 2 and starts the pass earlier still if he can. 22 laps on the board. Here goes Ricky Craven now. He's caught Jerry Nadeau for 7th. Nadeau in the blue number 9. Craven in that black and gold 58. That other battle, Chad Little still can't make a pass on the Kevin LePage. Coming to the white flag. Let's go to pit road.
Yeah, I'm watching that battle between Nadeau and Craven is pulled right up under the back bumper of Jerry Nadeau. He has seen that car is a little bit loose, and he's trying to tuck right up against him to loosen the car up just enough to pick up that extra spot. It may mean something big come tomorrow's race. You never know.
White flag is in the air for Tony Stewart while this battle shakes shape. There goes Stewart with a 4.5 second lead now. He is just checked out on Wally Dallenbach in second. Kenny Irwin running third. Then the LePage and Chad Little battle. Tony's been driving this race like he has a flight to catch. Indeed he does. From victory lane, it's on to the Concord Airport. And he's gone. Stewart wins. Dallenbach second. Irwin is third. Here's fourth place right here. LePage to hold off Chad Little. He will be able to do it. So LePage takes fourth. Chad Little will come home fifth. Then Mast. Nadeau ahead of Craven, 7th and 8th. Presley and Kenny Wallace. But Tony Stewart as dominating in his qualifier as they put the decaled name on the big check, as dominating in his event as Mike Skinner was in his. We'll go to victory lane. Wrap her up on Speed Vision right after this.
For over 40 years, one magazine has captured America's love affair with automobiles better than any other, Car and Driver. Each month, Car and Driver brings you the inside story on what's hot and what's new in the automotive world. You'll get the first sneak previews of today's new cars, plus straight talk from the industry's most respected automotive journalists. And if you call now, we'll rush you a free trial issue with no obligation to continue. No other magazine gives you more road tests than Car and Driver. Our comparison and head-to-head testing pulls no punches, pitting car against car from premier luxury vehicles to SUVs to affordable compact models. Call 1-800-274-1384 to order a full year of Car and Driver for just $14.97. We'll bill you, and after you see your free issue, you can decide if Car and Driver is for you. If so, return your payment and get 11 more issues, 12 in all, for only $14.97. If not, write cancel on the bill and owe nothing. You keep the free issue. Call now.
If this is what you live for, the Outdoor Life Network is your network. It's the only place you can turn to for the tips and techniques that will inspire your next adventure. If you don't get OLN, call 1-800-OUTDOOR and ask your cable company to add the Outdoor Life Network, Adventure TV.
Eagle 1 A to Z wheel cleaner removes stubborn brake dust easily. And Eagle
Eagle One Wet Tire Shine applies a clear high-gloss shine instantly. But why does NASCAR winner Mark Martin use premium Eagle One products exclusively?
When you're in the spotlight, you always want to look your best.
Eagle One A to Z Wheel Cleaner and Eagle One Wet Tire Shine for the perfect finish. Eagle One, are you ready for the attention?
Speed Vision's live coverage of qualifying for the Winston NASCAR's All-Star Race has been brought to you by X1R Performance Lubricants. Run with the best. And by Miller Lite, who reminds you to think when you drink. Yeah, as they say, nolo contendere, no contest. Tony Stewart's in victory lane, so Steve Burns.
And Tony Stewart climbs out of the race car. Happy crew behind him. Tony, hey, it's not a points race, but it sure is good to be in victory lane.
Yeah, it really is. And the fact that we didn't get a chance to come here and test because the driver Bernie's speed out in Fontana didn't help us any, but these guys have done a great job on this Home Depot Pontiac, and Greg Zipadelli and all these guys behind me, they deserve a big round of applause because they're the ones that got us here, and just having a great weekend so far.
And you got a busy day tomorrow. You leave right from here to Indy and practice at 8 a.m., I hear.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind getting up at 8 a.m. I'm glad I get the chance to qualify and, maybe run for the pole tomorrow. We drew 2, and that gets us in our window when needed to try to get this thing in the show tomorrow with Larry Curry and TriStar Motorsports and Home Depot there also. So we're pretty happy with the way the weekend started off.
And back here for 2 o'clock practice.
No problem. I'll be ready.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, when you're a racer, you just love days like that. There's nothing like it. Let's take a look at how they came across the line. We gave you the top 10 before, but it is certainly worthy of another look. Wally Dallenbach hung with him for a bit, but then Tony just threw a little extra coal on the fire and took off. Good scramble there with Nadeau and Craven and Robert Presley. They gave everybody a pretty good show. Then the final 5, everybody was running at the conclusion of the event. Nobody went to the garage as opposed to race number 1, where we saw a number of the drivers fall out prior to the checkered flag. But hope you've enjoyed our coverage here on Speed Vision. Of course, we'll be bringing you replay action of the Winston on the same network later this weekend. You want to see the live event tomorrow? TNN Motorsports has it, all beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Our congratulations to Bobby Labonte. He won the pole for the Winston NASCAR's All-Star Race. Mike Skinner won the first of our no-bull qualifiers, and Tony Stewart won qualifying race number 2. A thank you to Michael Waltrip, who joined us during the show. Michael will start 9th in the Winston tomorrow, but that's the man who's on the pole, Bobby Labonte. Thanks to Glenn Jarrett and Steve Burns on the pit lane. I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for joining us at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Good night, everybody. Always much anticipated, and now it is here. The Winston NASCAR's All-Star Race at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. A racetrack 1.5 miles around, awash in bright lights. The grandstands filled to capacity, and you folks may well have the best seat in the house. Hi, everyone. Eli Gold welcoming you on behalf of the entire TNN Motorsports crew to the Lowe's Motor Speedway, where the talking is done. We're set to fire the engines and see who is the best of the best. But what about that first race, the Winston Open? Well, we have the AutoZone race analysis that shows you what you'll be seeing and enjoying here tonight. A lot of money on the line. Those dollars reflect the Winston. The Winston Open purse, as you see in its own right, is $308,000. But you've got to get from the Winston Open. The winner will advance to the Winston. Everybody else goes home. You're curious as to how the drivers qualified for the race? Well, there you see both the Winston Open and the Winston eligibility lists, and we will have a 21-car starting field for the All-Star event that will roll a bit later on this evening. Hall of Famer Buddy Baker is alongside of me, and Buddy, as we see the rules for the Winston, you have run in this event. You've run the Winston Open. How special was this weekend to you in your driving days?
Well, little did I know this would be the last Winston Cup victory that I was going to have in my career. But let me tell you, when I advanced into the Winston, that was as important as the 4 times I won at this Speedway.
You know, what's also interesting, Dick Berggren, is you talk to a lot of drivers, and they will cite a win on this weekend as truly a career highlight.
Yeah, especially the ones who have never won a Winston Cup point race, like Todd Bodine, Dick Trickle, Ricky Craven. They will surely tell you that winning the Winston Open is right up there at the top of their entire career.
It is an overcast evening as darkness settles upon Charlotte, North Carolina. The conditions are truly ideal. Tony Stewart's car rolling to the grid. The Winston Open is just around the corner. Welcome in, everybody. You see the grandstands. They are filled to capacity here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, formerly known as the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Eli Gold, Dick Berggren, Buddy Baker, with Glenn Jarrett, Steve Burns, Ralph Shaheen down on the pit lane and in the garage area. Of course, if any of these guys go to the garage area tonight, Buddy, that driver's night is clearly done.
The news is out.
Yes.
Anytime you pull in there, it's over.
Any way to predict off of what we saw last night? We saw Mike Skinner dominate his qualifier. We saw Tony Stewart dominate his qualifier. The likelihood of either one running off in this Winston Open coming up?
Pretty slim, it really is. They've had all day to work on the race cars. Some teams surely have gotten faster, and some of those fast guys have managed to adjust their cars right out of high speed.
And there's a guy who knows what high speed is about. Although in relative terms, 220 miles an hour today, Dick, at the Brickyard in qualifying for the Indianapolis 500. That, to me, is plenty fast. It wasn't, though, in the relative scheme of things.
Not as far as he was concerned. Tony Stewart thought he had a shot for the pole, and so did his fans, but he is going to start 20th in the Indianapolis 500.
Eli, you look at these guys. He and Skinner dominated last night, but I can tell you, I talked to the crew chiefs. They said we learned so much last night in the race. Some of the cars that were not competitive, they will be tonight.
So everybody getting little horseplay, and that's what the Winston weekend is all about. It is serious, but it is fun, as the Home Depot driver and the Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse driver get together. Activities underway here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Let's go trackside to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Eli. You know, one of the most important orders of business for any sporting event of this magnitude is the singing of our national anthem. And tonight, as a tribute to the fans, their tremendous support, the fans of auto racing here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, they are going to sing the national anthem. You folks at home, let's all join along.
They are just a few seconds away from singing the national anthem, and indeed, this is a tribute to the fans, because after all, that's what an all-star weekend is all about. And the fans here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway, along with a soundtrack provided over the public address system, will collectively, some 150,000 voices strong, will sing our national anthem as we get the Winston weekend underway here in Charlotte. Obviously, some folks still checking on the words to the anthem. And here we go, our national anthem. Some folks sang, some didn't. For the record, Buddy Baker did sing the anthem here in the booth, and as you can clearly see, people from every country stood up as a result. It is a beautiful night here. We appreciate the folks who've taken the time to make that banner and join us here at the racetrack. And now it's time to get down to business. This race, 50 laps, only the winner gets into the Winston. And as we said before, folks, last night they had two 25-lap qualifying races. They called them the No Bull 25s. And the results of those races established the starting lineup for this Winston Open qualifier. And truly, Mike Skinner and Tony Stewart just ran away in their respective events.
Well, they did. And there's something else that they have to really guess on tonight, is everybody right now realizes the racetrack's going to change considerably. As it gets darker, it's going to cool off. The racetrack's going to build a little bit of push in the cars. A lot of teams last night were complaining the cars were too tight. That means the front end is pushing out towards the wall and very hard to drive that way.
Just for the record, earlier this afternoon, Robert Presley and Steve Park were quickest in practice, but that was, looking at my time charts here, at about 2:46 this afternoon. A little different than right now, 7:46 p.m. Eastern time.
It'll be interesting to see how that all works out. When the cars are adjusted for the heat, they don't run well in the darkness. Now, Tony Stewart spent much of his day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Virtually no time in his race car. Who knows? That may prove to be an advantage to him.
Larry McReynolds told me, he said, we're going to use most of the notes that we got in the practice here prior to the running of the Winston. Also, the race they ran last night, they were pedaling back. They said they actually backed off about halfway and rode the distance out. So they have a better car than they even showed last night. That's bad for the other people out there.
Well, the talking is over, guys. Let's fire them up as the command from Jack Johnson is about set to go.
Start your engine!
The field now pulling away on the first of 3 pace laps as we get set for the Winston Open. The winner of this event will qualify for the Winston. That'll be upcoming shortly after 9 o'clock Eastern time this evening. Let's take a look at who has qualified for this Winston Open as they align behind that new year 2000 Chevy Monte Carlo. Mike Skinner and Tony Stewart, they won their No Bull 25s last night. Jimmy Spencer and Wally Diamondback, they finished second in the 2 qualifiers last night. Schrader and Irwin finishing third in their races, and you get the idea. Brett Bodine and Kevin LePage, they finished in 4th spot, and on down the line. Once you get past where you see Rich Bickle and Rick Mast, you really have your work cut out for you here tonight.
Well, those are good race cars that you have to pass here. And Steve Park, you know, was the fastest in practice and qualifying for the events last night. Had a spark plug wire come off, so anything can happen. Just because you run fast does not mean you're going to lead this race.
Steve Park, Joe Nemechek, Andy Hillenberg with crew chiefing help from Cliff Champion and Dan Pardis back in row number 12. Forrest said first time to run this track in competition was yesterday. Derek Cope, Dave Marcus, Morgan Shepherd is here trying to earn his way into the Winston. So too Hut Strickland. And from the ARCA Bondo Marhide series, Frank Kimmel also in the field here today. If you've never been to the Lowe's Motor Speedway, only the name has changed. The dimensions are all the same as it's been for years. 24 degrees of banking in the corners, 5 degrees on the straights, but that corner, particularly turn 4, buddy, it really almost forces a car to push a little bit, doesn't it?
It does, and the center part of the corner, the car starts to walk out towards the outside wall, and then coming off turn 4, there's a very famous bump there called Humpy's Bump. And when you come off there, if you're a little bit crooked, you can eat that wall up coming out of the corner.
There you see the crowd on the back straightaway. In years past, they didn't even used to open the backstretch grandstand for the Winston weekend. Now, you see it's more than half full while the main grandstand is virtually full. Hey, folks, you can enter the TNN Pedal to the Metal sweepstakes, and you could be a winner. Later today, if you can answer the question of who is the winner of the Winston Open, that's this race coming up right now.
That is about a second a lap when you're side by side like that. Look at Kenny Irwin Jr. making a move in the 28 car there. Under Spencer getting down into turn 3.
3 wide again. This time Kenny Irwin has to give as Schrader comes down low. But Wally Dallenbach, I think, said, thanks for getting me out of that pickle.
Dallenbach has been extremely quick here for the entire session. Fast at virtually every practice. Had a good run last night in his No Bull 25.
Those cars are now 2 full seconds behind Tony Stewart and Mike Skinner. That's how significant all of that side-by-side battling was. It just let the front two get gone, as we say. 77, remember, that's Robert Presley in that blue car working the outside. We told you earlier he was quickest in the afternoon practice here today.
Eli, when you see cars running side by side like these guys are doing right there, that air in front of the two cars is like a big board up there, and it really slows them down aerodynamically. When they fall in line and go nose to tail, it's very streamlined and goes quick down the straightaway.
If you've never seen a night race at this track, as you see the Steve Park machine working...
All clear, all clear.
If you've never seen a night race here, you notice the sparks coming up as the guys go towards the banking. They're bottoming out as we see a good third-place scramble here. Dallenbach in the red car. Jimmy Spencer in that 23 to his high side. How upsetting to a driver and to the car is bottoming out like that, buddy?
Well, it depends on how hard you hit. You know, in the daytime, it's actually doing that. You don't see the sparks. At night, all of a sudden, these sparks look like the whole bottom side of the car is dragging off. But they're just barely touching at certain parts of the racetrack. But if
clear either side, clear either side.
The wheels off the racetrack and gets it very, very loose.
Dallenbach and Irwin, fourth place. Give it to Kenny Irwin, and here comes Kenny Schrader. Now it is 3 seconds from the front two back to that scramble. 3 full seconds. Skinner trailing Tony Stewart. They have pulled away. The lead is a good one, but again, that is 3 seconds ahead of Spencer, Dallenbach, Irwin, and the rest of that group. Problems. David Green spins here on the main straightaway. Caution on the racetrack. It'll be at lap number 10, and caution laps do count in this event. They don't count in the Winston coming up later, but in this Winston Open, caution laps will count towards the total of 50. You can see that David Green okay and refires the Kodiak Chevrolet.
Well, all that happened off turn 4 there. You talked about how difficult that corner is on these race cars. You see the left side there, left rear tires flat, left front tires flat. A lot of contact on the left side of that race car.
And so much of that 3-second lead that Stewart and Skinner had.
Yep, that's all over. Right now they're going to be right on their back bumper, and we've got a good race coming as a result. They do race back to the caution here in the Open, but there's a gentleman's agreement that you don't do that unless you're trying to unlap yourself.
Take a look at what happened here with David Green coming off the corner. Don't know if he got into some jam there with Park and the others.
Looked like Steve Park and the one there just off the corner there. Sometimes you'll lose momentum. It looked like Park may have just touched him very lightly coming off that corner. But boy, it's very, very dangerous when you come off that corner if anybody touches you.
So we are under caution for the first time here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. 10 laps into the Winston Open. The winner will advance in as the Bass Pro Shops hot air balloon is with us tonight as well. In one more lap, David Green has taken the Kodiak machine to the garage area. Other teams have chosen to make some pit stop for tires. Why are we under caution? Well, if you're just getting back with a refrigerator, here's what you missed.
Steve Park just gets into the back of the 41 there of David Green. You see him going around there. Everybody going to the high side. Joe Nemechek goes by there. Ted Musgrave. Now he goes back out to the outside. You see all 4 tires locked down and back in on the driver's side. Makes contact with the outside wall.
And you will notice that the car did not steer well with all those 4 tires locked up.
It's amazing how that happens.
Yeah.
And there it is again. The crew tried to fix it, but unable to do so, and David Green has gone to the garage.
The roof flaps really worked on that car. You could see them fly up to hold that car down on the racetrack.
Quickly, Glenn Jarrett.
Towing problems for the 41 car, Eli. That's the problem. The 31 car of Mike Skinner is reporting his car feels real good. It's a little loose on the high side of the racetrack, but he likes it. Steve?
Hey, Glenn, Jimmy Spencer's crew said that the car was loose, but it's coming back to him. Let's check in with Ralph Shaheen.
Tony Stewart says number 20 is a little bit loose in the corners, but the crew tells him once the Hoosier rubber that the ARCA Series runs wears off the track and the Goodyear rubber that the Winston Cup cars run gets laid down, he'll be good to go.
Scientific business. We're going back to green. Lap 14 of 50 in the Winston Open. Skinner wants the lead if he can grab it. That blue and yellow, number 31, could not make the move. And look at Tony Stewart get gone.
He is strong tonight, very strong. There are people who have said in the garage area that Tony Stewart could well win the Open, the Winston, and the Indianapolis 500.
Jimmy Spencer running the high line around the corner there, trying to take over second spot, and does.
The guys are saying the car's coming to him, and our pit reporters know of what they speak, but Skinner's not going quietly.
No, he's going to put up a big fight, and side by side, you can see right now Skinner's car giving up just a little bit in the center part of the corner. He does not get off the corner as well as Jimmy Spencer at this time.
Now, these lead cars did not make a pit stop during caution. The fellas in the back, like Robert Presley, Johnny Benson, Buckshot Jones, Ricky Craven, those fellas, Hutch Strickland, Derek Cope, they all made pit stops. Boris said made a couple of pit stops. But the leaders, they all stayed out there. You don't want to give up track position.
Watching Kenny Schrader there running along in fourth place right now, doing a great job with the 33 car. He's moving them back quarter panel there on Mike Skinner as they go down the back straightaway.
Schrader's had some great runs in the Winston Open. He's been second twice. He's been third twice. He's been fourth once. Never won it. Look at Joe Nemechek come in there.
Oh!
On the bottom.
Icy in 13th spot.
That's called as close as you can come without turning them around. There was a little bit of contact, but not enough.
There, still there. We're clear. Keep gas, everybody, gas on. Inside.
Steve Parks radio.
Still there.
Ty Norris is
clear now. Clear. All clear.
Baylor Hunt Incorporated. New crew chief there with Felipe Lopez having moved on earlier in the week. Paul Andrews, now the crew chief for Steve Park. There's a good battle, too. The 9 is Nadeau. The other blue car, the 11, that's Brett Bodine. 75, scrambling with them, Ted Musgrave. That is 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Oh, hold that thing. I tell you, when you're under a car going in the corner at 195 miles an hour, it jerks the back end around on the car. You can see Nadeau fighting for control there.
He's been fast in practice, but he had a tough run last night. He lost control of the car, did a pretty good wiggle, wound up toward the back of the pack, and that's why he didn't start up as far forward as he might otherwise have.
You guys see Jerry sawing on that steering wheel a little bit, too?
He's working.
And he better keep on doing it if that car's that loose, because he's right on the brink of getting the back around on that car. You can see it wiggle every time he goes into the corner.
Again, that is position 10 on back.
He hung tough. He got the spot.
Yeah, sure did. Brett got shuffled out as Musgrave in the 75. Kenny Wallace in the 55. All try and cover the positions. All of this now still 1 second behind the race leader, Tony Stewart. Jimmy Spencer is second. Mike Skinner is third. Schrader is fourth. And Kenny Irwin fifth. There you see the interval from first back to second. If you're not familiar, Tony Stewart ran here last night. As soon as action was over here last night, he flew to Indianapolis, where he qualified as the number 2 driver to go out in qualifying at the Brickyard today. Ran his laps, 220 miles an hour plus, hopped back on the plane, arrived here at the Speedway today at about 3:25 this afternoon.
You know, Dick and I talked to him yesterday in the garage area, and Tony Stewart says, I'm not looking at a clock, I'm not looking at a watch. They tell me when to run to the airport, they tell me to get in the car, drive, they tell me when to come back to Charlotte.
And he's got a wild week and a half coming up with police escorts and helicopters and jets that are capable of near Mach 1 in order to be able to run both the Indianapolis 500 and everything going on here at Charlotte. But Charlotte is the priority, no question about it. This thing comes first. They say that if Tony Stewart's in the middle of the Indianapolis 500 and it's time to go to Charlotte to race Winston Cup, he parks the car at Indy and comes here.
29 laps to go. You see some good scrambling middle of the field. Unfortunately for these guys, only the winner goes on to run in the All-Star race. And same story with David Green. He won't run the Winston tonight. He's in the garage.
Eli, a short night for David Green. He really wanted to run well here tonight. David, tell us what happened on the racetrack.
Just getting started at 50 lapper, you know, and I got shoveled up on the high side right there, and I'm all the way up against the wall, and kind of got ran into, but you hear it all the time, you see it all the time, but that's racing, I guess. But just got flat turned around. I thought I had it off the wall, but couldn't do enough stunt driving there in what little bit of room I had. But Kodiak Chevrolet is pretty good. We're happy with the way it ran this weekend, and really wanted to use this 50 laps for next week, but short night.
When he talked about using it for next week, they were talking about it being a test session for next weekend 600, but like you'd expect from a David Green or a Jeff Green or Mark Green, they handled it very classy right there. The problem's in the corner, and around and around they go.
Danny Pardis.
Dan Pardis of Daytona Beach, Florida, brings out caution. He was running in 22nd position at the time of the accident here at lap number 24. Dan Pardis of Daytona Beach spins in turn 2. And as I was saying before, that was handled nice and classy by David Green, as you'd expect.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, and he realizes a lot of things happen on the racetrack, and 90% of the time they don't mean to get into you, just slip into your car.
Let's see what happened up there in the corner. Watch there in the middle of your screen.
Oh, contact right there into the outside wall.
Actually,
you see Pardis gets hit, turned around there.
It was Craven who actually impacted the wall first.
Pardis and Craven got together. That's what did it.
Ricky Craven's gone directly to the garage area. There it is again. But on first replay, it looked like Craven might have tagged the wall first and then nudged into Pardis. Tough to tell.
Well, getting in the corner there, the second car going in the corner there was touched by the out front car there, just on the right rear corner. That turned the car into the outside wall. That's what we could see getting in the corner there.
Craven, your winner here in 1997. They have struggled with that race car for the entire duration of practice and qualifying.
Well, here come pit stops. Who's going to make a stop? Kenny Irwin does. Wally Dallenbach does. A host of others make their stops. Let's go to the pits.
And Kenny Irwin has brought the 28 car in. He's been reporting a little bit of handling problem. The car got a little loose with him. He didn't like it. They're changing all 4 tires. We really thought that we would see Mike Skinner, just as that wreck happened on the racetrack. Skinner came across the radio and told Larry McReynolds that the car was down on power. They suspected he has lost a cylinder. They didn't want to pit and give up the track position. Kenny Irwin, with 4 tires and a chassis adjustment, is down and away.
But Mike Skinner stays on the racetrack here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. But the lead is still in the hands of Tony Stewart. Back in a moment. Everybody under caution for the second time as Ricky Craven and Dan Pardis got together going up into the corner of turns 1 and 2. And we were watching the replays again during the commercial break. And, buddy, I think you're right, as per usual.
Well, as you see, as they go down in the corner here, these 2 cars right here go in. Ricky Craven is the second car there. Pardis runs over. They make contact getting into that outside wall there. Pardis goes up, back up. Ricky Craven hard on the brakes, held the brakes on there, and was able to miss Dan Pardis as he spins around in front of him there.
No, Steve Burns looked like Ricky Craven was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, it looks like a victim of circumstances, Eli. The right side of the number 58 car is flattened. Ricky, you've won this race before, but not this evening.
Yeah, you know, we won this in '97, and I was hoping to have that same sort of luck tonight, but it wasn't to be. Still better than last year when I was up in the booth with Eli. It's nothing personal, Eli, but
he was wondering.
But it is unfortunate, you know, because it's a real important race next week, the Coca-Cola 600, one of my favorites, and we've qualified on the front row for that race, I believe 3 times. And we're hoping to use this car and use this as a test, and instead we're going to be rebuilding it.
Can you bring it back for the 600?
Yeah, we can, but we're going to have to make a lot of changes and adjustments to it, and I felt like we're starting to sort it out. But hey, maybe it helped.
Thanks, Ricky.
No offense taken, Ricky. Don't worry about that. high aerial look at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Great crowd on hand here. Really a beautiful night. Had about 2 minutes of rain here this afternoon, literally about 2 minutes of rain. We traded that in for about a 40% humidity jump, but other than that, it was a beautiful day. Back downstairs, Larry McReynolds has a visitor, I see.
Yeah, I'm standing here in front of Larry. He's talking to Richard Childress right now. As we told you, there's a problem with the engine. They had Mike to change the ignition box. I don't know if that has solved it or not. Get a quick word with Larry. Larry, we're hearing bad reports about some engine problems. Any idea what's wrong?
Yeah, he swapped ignition boxes, and I think it's okay now. We probably messed up by not pitting, though.
Well, you hear it straight from his mouth there. That's a pretty grave admission at this point in time right now. They decided that they would follow the leader, Tony Stewart, and do what he would do and get ready for the green flag. And
Tony did not pit, nor did Jimmy Spencer, nor did Schrader, as Jimmy Howell puts the green flag on the field. 29 of 50 laps complete.
Look at Kenny Schrader there trying to take over third place from Mike Skinner. They're racing side by side. Rich Bickle there in the 45 just behind him made a great run towards the front in this event.
Looking from Tony Stewart back towards Jimmy Spencer. That was a half-second separation, but let's see what Skinner can do here. Further back, Johnny Benson moving up. Steve Clark still running in 10th. Dick Bergman.
Yeah, despite having come in for a pit stop, and I wondered about that. He had gotten himself all the way up to 10th from his original starting spot deep in the field at 21st. He came in, took on tires. Hey, he's right back where he was, so that was a smart move.
We'll be down to a 20-lap dash when they get back to the stripe, as Chad Little in the 97 has 14th spot right there. Robert Presley in the 77, Joe Nemechek in the 42, Rick Mast right behind in that blue and white number 98, and the 55 square D entry for Kenny Wallace. So many new paint schemes here this week.
It's hard to figure out who is who in some cases.
There you see NASCAR timing and scoring, brought to you by the folks at Napa. Napa, we keep America running.
Watch that 25 Dallenbach. He's good tonight.
He better be good because he's mired up in a lot of traffic back there. And the lead cars right now are running nose to tail and getting away from this bunch as they fight back here side by side.
But significantly among the leaders, Tony Stewart, who had a half-second lead before, is now only 3/10 of a second up on Spencer. There you see the spread. That is first to second, a lot closer than it was just a handful of laps ago.
Well, one thing nobody can ever accuse Jimmy Spencer of doing, and that's ride in a race. So right now, he's pushing very hard. As a matter of fact, maybe around the corners a little too hard and getting the car out of shape just a little bit in the center part of turns 3 and 4.
Now, Spencer wants to make it to the Winston. Last year was the first time in 4 years he failed to do that. They changed the format, so it wasn't the top 5 in the Open that made it to the Winston. Spencer missed it as a result.
There's Rich Bickle, 45. Kenny Irwin, 28. Wally Dallenbach, 25. That's 8th, 9th, 10th position.
Nadeau's car seems to have stabilized a little bit. That number 1, we don't see him wiggling around the way he was earlier.
Steve Clark in the 1. Jerry Nadeau in the 9, winning 6th and 7th.
As you can see, everybody's got an idea of what it takes to get around the racetrack now. They're starting to utilize the higher line there. As you see, they're not losing any ground on the high side of the racetrack.
Problem is, though, they're 4.5 seconds back of the leaders, and only the leader goes on. The other guys pack up after this race.
Tony Stewart has to feel like the most blessed young man on earth to have a teammate like Bobby Labonte, who has a car for this race that is lightning fast. You watch him in the Winston tonight. That car is just as good as this car is in the Open.
When we come back, we'll take you towards the checkers of the Winston Open. Greg Zipadelli and the crew hoping that their man can advance on to the Winston. You can log on now to TNNRacing.com for a live exclusive webcast of tonight's running of the Winston. It is the ultimate internet experience featuring your choice of viewing in-car cameras. You can listen to the Fan Scan Team Scanner talk and all of the other interactive multimedia racing features. So why not fire up your web browser now to TNNRacing.com Buddy doesn't go anywhere without his web browser.
You got that right. Speaking of web browser, right here is a web browser. That 20 car looks like somebody struck a match to the back of it. It's flying.
That is also the address where you can find TNN on the World Wide Web. Country.com. Your personal source for all things country, from race cars to country stars. Connect to country.com. Tony Stewart's lead now is 2.6 seconds on Jimmy Spencer. In the garage, Rich Bickle has just parked it. He got as high as 5th this evening before fading, but Ralph Shaheen, Tony Stewart is not fading at all.
Eli, they were questioning what to do on that last caution as to whether or not to bring the car in to put on tires. And Greg Zipadelli, I think he made the right call to keep him out there. It looks like the car is really coming around. Do you think it'll be strong enough if you're able to progress on into the Winston tonight?
I don't know. We've had a good car since we unloaded here. It seems to be pretty strong, pretty consistent. We're still just a little bit loose, and I think as the night goes on, it'll get a little bit better. It seems to have come to us since the beginning of this deal started here, so kind of looking forward to it. Keep our fingers crossed for another 8 laps.
Eli, the way they're running, and if this car is going to get better, they just might make good on the predictions that everybody has said that Tony Stewart could do, just like Michael Waltrip did in '96 to win the Winston Open and the Winston.
You want to know how significant the run by Tony Stewart is right now? Only twice in the history of this Winston Open has a race been won by a margin of victory of more than 1 second. In 1991, Michael Waltrip won by 4.5 seconds. In 1994, Jeff Gordon won by 3.5 seconds. And right now, Tony Stewart has a 3-second lead on Jimmy Spencer. So this will only be the 3rd time in history this particular event has been won by a margin of more than a second.
He makes it into the Winston. The guy he's going to have the toughest time with is his own teammate, the number 18, Bobby Labonte. That car is wickedly fast.
Seems like Jimmy Maycar's hit on something, huh, buddy?
Absolutely. He goes to Atlanta and just about it's a shoe-in that he's going to beat him in the beat there. And in Charlotte, Bobby Labonte is always a threat. And if you watch his car in the corner, either one of the cars that he has influence on, they run right around that white line in the middle part of the corner.
Good scramble for 13th. That's Elliott Sadler in the Wood Brothers Citgo machine. That's the orange car. And the 11, that's Brett Bodine in the Paychex entry. And Brett will take over 13th, keeping Elliott Sadler now back in the 14th spot with just 5 laps to go. As soon as this event is over, they're going to bring out a big stage, all sorts of pre-race activities, which we'll be bringing to you live here on TNN. And of course, Lee Winston, 2 30-lap segments and that 10-lap shootout. Chad Little scrambling for 6th with Kenny Irwin. Chad in the 97. That's the green and yellow. Kenny Irwin in the 28. You're looking there now at some of the fellows who came in for tires back on lap 25.
Boy, it has moved a bunch of the cars up. One guy that hadn't worked in his favor is Mike Skinner. He's falling back through the crowd at a very rapid pace right now because he did not make a pit stop.
Looking at Chad Little here in the number 97 car. Strange situation. Jack Roush was just shaking his head this morning. Little decided that he wanted to put his practice engine in the car instead of the race engine, so they sent to the shop for it. Jack was there with his elbows on the pickup truck, said, you just can't trust drivers. They make all sorts of strange decisions, but Chad's running well.
He is that. You know who else is running well now is Johnny Benson, who is ahead of that bunch. He is running in 4th place right now. That yellow machine right there, middle of that group. He was one of the guys who pitted way back on lap number 12 when David Green had his problems. And we've not ignored Johnny. He's just quietly made his way to the front, Glenn, with about a lap and a half to go.
Yeah, Eli, he looked really strong there for a while, but unfortunately now Johnny is reporting the car has gotten very, very loose. He can't accelerate up off the turns like he would like to, and like he could earlier on when those tires were fresh. So he first thought he had a chance to catch him. Now he's just trying to hang on to 4th.
Jimmy Howell has the white flag in hand for that man, Tony Stewart. He is a mile and a half away from advancing into the Winston as we ride with him around the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Team owner Joe Gibbs says, got this baby tucked away.
Boy, listen to that motor go down the back straightaway. Just listen.
I've never driven a race car, buddy, but it's got to be the nicest sound to a driver.
Oh, yeah.
And the nicest sight is what Tony Stewart sees now. Checkered flag in hand by Jimmy Howell. Tony Stewart has won the Winston Open and becomes the 21st place starter in the Winston. Yes, sir, you got it done. And in just 35 minutes from now, he'll be on the starting grid here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway.
I asked him yesterday, I said, what's the difference in the Indy car and the Winston Cup car? He says, when you win, you can shake your fist like that. If you do that in the Indy car, you knock a wing off the back of it.
We will be hearing from Tony Stewart. We'll also talk with the crew and find out what kind of changes they plan to make to get set for the big race coming up in a half hour. These folks are just getting going. They've already seen today practice and all sorts of activities. The ARCA race, now the Winston Open, won by Tony Stewart, and they're getting set for the Winston, a packed house here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Folks, don't forget you can enter the TNN Pedal to the Metal sweepstakes, and you could be a winner. If you know, and you should, who won the Winston Open, you can win the grand prize, a Ford F-150 4x4 pickup truck, or a first prize trip to one of the 4 NASCAR Winston Cup races upcoming right here on TNN. The winner of the Winston Open, of course, was, repeat after me, Tony Stewart. So all you got to do is send your name, your address, jot down your age, phone number, and the answer, Tony Stewart, on a postcard. Send it to the TNN Pedal to the Metal sweepstakes, TNN Station, P.O. Box 3582, Southbury, Connecticut, 06488. Or if you'd like, you can enter online at country.com. The entry deadline is upcoming May the 28th for the MBNA Platinum 400. There is Tony Stewart in victory lane. Glenn?
Okay, Tony Stewart, what a busy day you have had, young man, but what a great way to end it.
Well, I don't know if it's over yet. I mean, we're in the Winston now. That's all I care about. It's, it's great to get this Home Depot Pontiac in the Winston, and to get in there as a rookie, I'm really happy.
Car was a little loose. I know you told him to tighten it up a little bit, but our other question is, what time did you finally get into bed last night?
A whopping 1 o'clock in the morning. So, and then the wake-up call came at 9 o'clock and said the track's almost dry. So it's been an eventful day for us, that's for sure.
Well, to say the least. We're going to go back upstairs because we're on a tight schedule here. Eli, one happy young man, but also one tired young man.
Indeed so. We saw that graphic. He's already won $57,000 guaranteed right now. If he finishes last at the Winston, that's 18 grand more. He's already